For that. Well, turning now to this, today the nation is mourning the loss of the 39th president, Jimmy Carter. President Joe Biden declaring next Thursday, January 9th, as a national day of mourning. And here at home and at embassies worldwide, flags will fly at half-staff for the next month to honor his legacy. ABC's Morgan Norwood has more from Atlanta.
Tributes are pouring in to honor former President Jimmy Carter.
We may never see his like again. We'd all do well to try to be a little more like Jimmy Carter.
In his address to the nation Sunday, President Biden remembering Carter, who was 100 years old, as the longest living president in U.S. history. Biden and Carter sharing a friendship that spanned nearly 50 years.
Millions of people all around the world, all over the world, feel they lost a friend as well, even though they never met him. And that's because Jimmy Carter lived a life measured not by words, but by his deeds.
President-elect Trump writing that Carter taught all of us he did everything in his power to improve the lives of all Americans. For that, we all owe him a debt of gratitude. Former President Barack Obama stating Carter taught all of us what it means to live a life of grace, dignity, justice, and service. And from former President George W. Bush, Carter was loyal to his family, his community, and his country. And the Clintons. He worked tirelessly for a better, fairer world. Carter's one term in office was defined by foreign policy. He brokered a historic peace deal between Israel and Egypt, which is still in effect. But an energy crisis in the U.S. and the kidnapping of 52 American hostages in Iran played a role in his political undoing. Carter was just 56 when he left the White House. But in the more than 40 years since then, Carter and his wife Rosalind devoted themselves to humanitarian pursuits, both in the U.S. and around the world, with the former president winning the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002 in recognition of those efforts.
When historians write the paragraph on Jimmy Carter, 100 years from now, what do you want to be at the top of the list?
I'd say maybe peace and human rights. I kept the country at peace for 4 years and promoted peace for other people.
And President Biden ordering a state funeral at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. next Thursday. Carter will be laid to rest in his native Plains, Georgia. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Atlanta.
And lawmakers across the nation are responding to Carter's death and highlighting his legacy today. President-elect Donald Trump saying Carter, quote, did everything in his power to improve the lives of all Americans. For that, we owe him a debt of gratitude. Vice President Kamala Harris also offering her condolences on X, formerly known as Twitter, saying, quote, our world is a better place because of President Carter. His life and his legacy continue to inspire me and will inspire generations to come. Now, here in Virginia, Governor Glenn Youngkin issuing this statement online, saying both he and his wife, quote, join our nation to mourn the passing of Jimmy Carter. And Congressman Bobby Scott, among other members of Congress, expressing their gratitude this afternoon. You can see this photo here of him and the 39th president at the White House. Now, Scott says Carter, quote, redefined how former presidents can continue to serve and positively impact the world years after their presidency.